when you see a team put 70 points up on another team as a defensive coordinator, what's your reaction to that? It just doesn't happen.
I'm sleeping like a baby. Every 2 hours I wake up and cry and go to the bathroom and try to go back and get some more sleep.
Because the first time anyone's actually pointed out that when you sleep like a baby, you actually don't get any sleep at all. This is brilliant!
This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Roberto back from Minnesota. And guess what, people? The NHL season officially starts next week, as we're just 4 days away. And as we continue to set up the season, it's time today to talk about the Hart Trophy. According to FanDuel, the race for the Hart is basically a one-player race, led by Connor McDavid at even money. Austin Matthews has the second shortest odds at plus 1,000, which makes him or anyone else not named McDavid a real value pick. Now, when you're picking a Hart winner and trying to find value, the main questions you should be asking are, can you lead the league in points, lead the league in goals, or put up any kind of historic number? McDavid is the answer to all of those questions. But he's not the only one. For starters, Austin Matthews has scored the most goals of any player since entering the league and in the last 25 seasons. Only Pavel Bure has a better goals per game average, which is just wild. Plus, when we're talking about narratives, which is important in award races, people are a little down on Austin after the season he just had. But let's stick with narrative here for another value pick, and that's Jack Hughes at 17-1. The Devils made it back to the playoffs last year for the first time in 4 years, and Hughes had a 43-point jump from 56 to 99. Hughes was 10th in points per game, but an even more encouraging stat is that he was 5th in even strength goals and scored just 9 power play markers. If Hughes takes another step, which we all expect him to do, we could be looking at another ridiculous season on a potential President's Trophy winning team. Now, our last value bet is Cale Makar at 20-1. No defenseman has won the Hart since Chris Pronger in 99-2000. And if you're thinking Erik Karlsson couldn't win it with the season he just had, then no one can win it, right? Well, Karlsson played on a bad Sharks team, and Makar plays on a team that could win the Cup. He also has the potential to score 30-plus goals, which has not been done by a D-man since Mike Green in 2008-2009. Makar scored 28 2 seasons ago, and he can easily score 30 and get to 100 points if he's healthy. It's a big if, but if those benchmarks are reached, the Hart Trophy could be incoming for the NHL 24 cover athlete. I would love to see Cale Makar win the trophy. That would be amazing, just for the history books overall, but also because he just seems like a great guy. You know, you want the good guys to win. To the NFL, we've got a ton of big names to update you on that we could see on the field this Sunday. And this is not hyperbole, these are huge names. Let's start with Bills edge rusher Von Miller, who was on the plane with the team to London. He was a limited participant in practice Thursday, and it's still TBD if he'll be on the field Sunday against the Jags, with Sean McDermott saying Von is, quote, one day at a time. But you know he is in London, so that's a good sign. And they could use the help because fellow edge rusher Greg Rousseau is out Sunday with a foot injury. Next one has some big fantasy implications, as Jonathan Taylor was a full participant in practice Thursday as well as today. Taylor said he's 100% healthy and is expected to be on the field. Our next big name is Cooper Kupp, who's a full participant in practice. And barring any setbacks, he's expected to be on the field Sunday against Philly. Now that we've got the injury news out of the way, let's look ahead to our favorite matchup this weekend, and that's between the Niners and Cowboys. Checking the odds, these are the first and third favorites on FanDuel to win the NFC. And these two teams have met the last 2 years in the playoffs, with San Fran winning both. Now there are a couple big streaks to look out for the Niners, as Brock Purdy has still not lost a regular season game he started. With 6 more wins, he ties Ben Roethlisberger for the all-time record. And Christian McCaffrey has scored a touchdown in 13 straight games for the Niners, a franchise record. And he had 4 in Sunday's win against Arizona. Will either of these streaks continue? You can find out Sunday on TSN at 8:20 Eastern, 5:20 Pacific. Now, yesterday on the show, Julia speculated about Chase Claypool, and that his time in Chicago might likely be coming to an end. And today it's official, he has been traded to the Dolphins with a 2025 7th-round pick for a 2025 6th. Okay, you know the deal, it's FanDuel Fast Fact time. We've got plenty of gambling nuggets for you. Let's see how many I can get through in 40 seconds. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hit it! Justin Jefferson has 149 or more receiving yards in 3 of his last 4 games and is averaging 105.8 receiving yards per game this season. His total for receiving yards Sunday versus KC is 102.5. Including playoffs, Jamar Chase has now gone 5 straight games without a TD. Prior to this longest touchdown drought was 2 games. He is minus 105 to score a TD Sunday versus the Cardinals. At 3-0-1 against the spread, the Rams are the only undefeated team against the spread. They are plus 4.5 home dogs Sunday against the Eagles. The Giants are the only team winless against the spread at 0-4. They are getting 11.5 points Sunday in Miami against the Fins. The Giants are blitzing at second highest rate in the league. Tua has 129.5 QB rating against the blitz this season, 3rd highest in the NFL. Tua total. Okay. Christopher, each point should just be one sentence, not complete paragraphs. I'm so sick of this. How am I gonna break a 4 record? How would one do that? Are we putting bets on that? We can't. Guess what? Don't bet. He's giving me freaking paragraphs. Anyway, happy Friday. Now joined by some of our favorite Friday energies, Tim Hurraney to talk some F1. Great to see you, Tim.
Marissa, thanks very much for having me. Sorry to hear about your Blue Jays, but can we not just start to be happy for producer Chris's Buffalo Bills, who looks like they've returned to form? He's going to be jumping through fiery tables in no time.
I don't think we need to give Chris any more tire pumps about the Bills right now, okay? I have to hear it enough all day, every day. Okay, Tim, Max can clinch the Drivers' Championship this weekend. Historically, where does this season rank compared to some of the best seasons we've seen from drivers?
Yeah, it's definitely up there for sure. I mean, two drivers in two different seasons stand out to me in particular. 2002, Michael Schumacher with Ferrari, and then 2020, Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. And Mercedes had built just this weapon of a race car. And, Lewis went out and did his thing. Absolutely smashed his teammate, Valtteri Bottas. And when we take a look at Max's accomplishments this season, I mean, winning 10 Grand Prix in a row, setting that record, something we may never see broken, is absolutely incredible. The gap between himself and his teammate, unbelievable. And then outside of that, if we look at this as a whole from Red Bull Racing and Adrian Newey, one of the minds behind building this, we probably have just witnessed one of the greatest race cars ever built just smoke this entire field.
Agree. It's really cool that we get to live in the time of Max Verstappen. But let's get a little crazy here. Can you give us a cross-sport comparison for our fans who maybe aren't into F1?
That's a great question, Marissa. I mean, producer Chris and I were actually chatting about this earlier offline, and I think we both came to the agreement that it had to be the 2007 New England Patriots. I mean, every time you turned on the TV to watch the Pats, you knew that they were going to come away with a win. They were that dominant. Obviously, that season going 18-0 and then losing to the Giants in the Super Bowl. But now, when you turn on Formula One, it's the same sort of thing. You know who's going to win. It's probably going to be Max Verstappen. You know Red Bull Racing's coming away with the win as well. I just think when we get to 2024, it may be a bit of a different story where, Red Bull Racing, yes, may have an advantage to start the season, but I do see these teams clawing back that performance and making big gains over the winter. But when we talk about these cross-sport comparisons, I would definitely go with the 2007 Patriots.
Wow, that's a great example. But everyone was coming for them, and then everyone hated them. Oh no, what's coming for Max? Tim Hurraney, a pleasure as always.
Hey, thanks very much for having me, Marissa. Really appreciate it.
And just a reminder, you can watch the Qatar Grand Prix this Sunday on TSN. Coverage begins at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. Time now for CFL Preview, powered by FanDuel. And we have a pair of games tonight as the Argos host the Oaks and the Lions host the Bombers. Now, with the Argos already having clinched the division, we're going to focus on that battle for the West between BC and Winnipeg, as both come into this one with the same record. But we do have some news from that Argos game, as Chad Kelly is returning to the lineup as quarterback after sitting out last week. Okay, so on to the big game tonight, and we're focusing on Vernon Adams Jr., as tonight could be a defining moment in his quest for the MOP. His passing yards are set at 289.5, and his touchdowns at 1.5, but with heavy juice on the over. While we like both individually, we also like combining them in a same-game parlay that gets you to plus 131. Now, over his last 7 games, Adam has been scorching, throwing for over 300 yards in 6 of those 7, and averaging 2.7 touchdown passes per game. Just a reminder, you can watch both those games tonight on TSN. It all starts at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific with the Argos and Elks. Then with the Bombers and Lions going at 10. That's all for today. We'll see you right back here Monday. Have a great weekend.